Just like London Bridge is falling down, Oranges and Lemons, also known as London Bells, was another exciting and mildly terrifying schoolyard game where we would form an arch with our arms and catch one of our friends while singing the words to a song we didn't really understand. Oddly, most of us don't even remember learning the words, yet we all just seem to know them. At the time, we were all too young to really know who or what St. Clement's was. It was equally as likely we didn't know the significance of the bells of St. Martin's. Even now as adults, many people don't know that the bells of St. Clement's would ring to signify the arrival of citrus fruits, or that St. Martin's was the location where moneylenders would operate. The lyrics "Here comes a candle to light you to bed," and "Here comes a chopper to chop off your head" lead some to theorise that the origin and meaning pointed to the possibility that it was a commentary on Henry VIII's marriages, particularly the way he ended some of them. However, those lyrics were added sometime after the nursery rhyme was first published in Tommy Thumb's Pretty Songbook in 1744, so while they may actually be referring to Henry VIII in that version, it wasn't the original meaning. This does not lessen their significance, it just highlights that these rhymes were adapted to add commentary to the life and times of those years. In 1744, the rhyme would have been in circulation for quite some time before then. There are records dating back to 1665 of a square dance by the same name. However, it's not certain if the two are linked beyond their name. With every nursery rhyme researched for this video, multiple lyrical differences were found. This is likely because of the differences in regional dialect, the hidden social or political commentary they gave directly related to their location, and also simply because some of the locations may have been renamed. For example, the 1744 version, Shoreditch appears as Fleetditch. One of the most obvious themes in the rhymes is the lending of money. One of the longer and less commonly known variations of the rhyme illustrates a vibrant image of 16th and 17th century London, where it describes various trades which were characteristics of the different districts of the city. There are some of the references which are pretty pleasant. For example, pancakes and fritters, kettles and pans, and brickbats and tiles, which describe the bakers, coppersmiths, and builders. But then there are also a few other references which are pretty dark. An example of this are the words "pokers and tongs," say the bells of St. John, making reference to the cruel methods of torture that took place within the walls of the Tower of London. Returning to the other more sinister words, "Here comes the candle to light you to bed, here comes the chopper to chop off your head." It's believed that these words refer to the sinister routine that took place at Newgate Prison. The jail used to be located where the current Old Bailey now stands, which is near St. Sepulchre's Church. This is why the lyrics, "The bells of Old Bailey," were used in the rhyme. At 9 a.m. on Monday mornings, the sound of the church's great tenor bell would begin striking. This would signify that the hangings of that week would begin to take place. On Sunday night, the bellman of St. Sepulchre would visit the death row prisoners. He would hold a candle in one hand and ring a bell in the other, reciting this poem. "All you that in the condemned hole do lie, prepare you for tomorrow you shall die. Examine all yourselves, in time repent, that you may not be to eternal flames be sent. And when St. Sepulchre's bell in the morning tolls, the Lord above have mercy on your souls." In discussion about nursery rhymes and their history, Seth Lorer, Dean of Arts and Humanities at the University of California, said, "Nursery rhymes are part of long-standing traditions of parody and a popular political resistance to high culture and royalty. During a time when to mock royalty or politicians could find the offender on death row, nursery rhymes were a way for people to sneak witty coded messages around while disguised as children's entertainment. Thankfully today, we're much more free to share our opinions without fear of the same kind of punishment our medieval ancestors may have succumbed to. London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. The true meaning of London Bridge has been a subject of debate amongst historians for quite some time, since there are multiple variations with no particular detail to help indicate which came first. However, it's largely believed that darker verses were removed as time went by, so we're able to establish some of the versions which came later. In one softened version, the words read as, "London Bridge will soon swing round, instead of the words, "London Bridge is falling down." This version also replaces the verse during the moment when a child is caught in the arms of their friends. Instead of being sent to prison, the lyrics describe how the child must choose a side of the bridge they like best. As with every nursery rhyme, London Bridge and its playground game do in fact hold a deeper hidden meaning to what the seemingly playful lyrics and charming tune initially seem to offer. Darker lyrics were probably replaced in order to stop curious young minds hearing the sinister stories of their possible origin. One theory of origin tells the story of the London Bridge actually falling down in 1014, as a result of invading Vikings and their leader Olaf Haraldsson actually pulling it down during their attack of the British Isles. However, the supposed attack has never actually been found in any records, and therefore can't be proven to have taken place. Yet the story of the attack apparently did inspire a number of Old Norse poems that date back to 1230 AD. A translation of one of these Norse poems contained lyrics that sound very similar. London Bridge is broken down, gold is won, and bright renown. The other theory of origin leans towards issues of maintenance. Historians that support this other theory suggest that there are records that show that sections of the bridge were damaged in 1281 due to ice, and that it was then weakened further by fire on several occasions, once in 1633 and also during the Great Fire of London in 1666. Even though London Bridge encountered all of this structural damage, it survived for 600 years and did not fall down as described in the rhyme. In 1831 the bridge was demolished. This was because by this point it was much cheaper to replace than it was to repair it. And this is where things start to get dark. During those times, it was a common superstitious belief that a building would have a high level of endurance if bodies of sacrificed humans were encased in its foundations. According to Alice Bertha Gomm's book, The Traditional Games of England, Scotland and Ireland, London Bridge is falling down refers to a medieval method of punishment or sacrifice known as immurement. Just in case you don't know, immurement was a form of imprisonment where a person was sealed within an enclosed space with no exits. In some cases, people were enclosed in extremely tight spaces, similar to a coffin. They were then left to die from starvation or dehydration. The verse, "Take the key and lock her up," is where Alice Bertha Gomm believes the nursery rhyme is referring to that practice. Even more unnervingly, she also believes that in the case of London Bridge, the sacrifices would have been children. However, with no archaeological evidence to suggest that it could be true, it may just mean that it was simply a detail used to scare children. The other possibility is that the practice of immurement was only used in an earlier version of the bridge, prior to its reconstruction in 1831. When it comes to the fair lady in the rhyme, her identity also remains a mystery, with a number of theories that have all yet to be proven. Some suggest it could be the Virgin Mary, who is believed to have protected the city from the Viking attack, if it did indeed happen. A number of royal consorts have also been considered, and both seem quite possible. In the later 13th century, Eleanor of Provence, a French noblewoman and consort of Henry III, was in charge of all the revenue of London Bridge. The consort of Henry I, Matilda of Scotland, who was also regent of England on several occasions, is believed to have ordered the construction of a number of bridges in the early 12th century, London Bridge possibly being one of them. Lastly, and darkest of all, it's also a possibility that the fair lady could have been the victim of an immurement sacrifice. It's speculated that this could have been a young woman from the Lee family of Stoneleigh Park in Warwickshire, although there are no details we could uncover as to why she may have been selected for such a cruel end. Hickory dickory dock, hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck 1, the mouse ran down, hickory dickory dock. This charming little rhyme paints cute and simple imagery of a tiny mouse scuttling around a clock and then quickly running and hiding in fear after the clock chimes at 1 o'clock. By the standards of other nursery rhymes, the meaning of this one is not overly dark, but in its time, this rhyme still did make social commentary with a hidden meaning within it. First published in 1743, Hickory Dickory Dock is a reference to the incompetence of one of the least known leaders in British history, Richard Cromwell. Richard became the second Lord Protector of the Commonwealth of Great Britain after the death of his father, Oliver Cromwell, in 1658, during the time when Britain was a republic. This was a period of 11 years between the execution of King Charles I in 1649 and the reinstalment of the crown under King Charles II in 1660. Oliver Cromwell is more well known, given that he was the English general and statesman who led the Parliament of England's armies against King Charles I during the English Civil War and ruled the British Isles as Lord Protector from 1653 until his death. Before he died, Oliver Cromwell convinced Parliament to let his son take over. However, Richard was simply not suited for being Lord Protector. He was said to be mouse-like and timid. He would often back down when challenged, and lacked the ability to demonstrate authority. He earned numerous nicknames, one of which was Tumbledown Dick, fitting the imagery of the timid mouse running away in the nursery rhyme. His quick rise to power is expressed in the words, "The mouse ran up the clock," and his quick step down from position is referred to with the words, "The clock struck 1, the mouse ran down." The 1 in the rhyme refers to the single year during which he held office, between 1658 and 1659, before scurrying off, like a timid mouse, into voluntary exile.